we go. Okay, recording to the cloud. We have done it. So again, we can't call this to order because we don't have a quorum. We're calling to attention at 6:40. Housing, land use and zoning meeting for Manhattan Community Board 9. We welcome everybody in the room and online. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, you have reached the Housing, Land Use and Zoning Committee for CB9. We discuss everything that's part of housing, land use and zoning in the city in our area. So that is between 110 and 155, between the Hudson and it kind of meanders around Edgecombe and Morningside and St. Nicholas and things like that. But that's our general area. We don't care about any other ones, just ours. I kid, but only slightly, because yes, we are dedicated to this area of Manhattan, Community Board 9, and this is our people, and this is our grassroots level voice for the people. We take what we hear in these meetings and the concerns that come to us, we then put them into things like resolutions and letters of support that will then go on to our elected officials as official, the official word of the community through the community board. So we're a sounding board for the rest of the community. That's a very brief synopsis of what the committee of Community Board 9 does. So we are the community's voice. We are your voice if you live in this community, if you live or work here. And so with that, we can take a look at the agenda, but we can't adopt it. So let me stop share and I'll share the agenda real quick, or share the minutes. Sorry, we're at minutes. No, agenda. Sorry, I had it on the screen. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. All right, so we are going to take a look at this agenda. And this would be the time, if you take a look at this agenda, to ask to add any friendly amendments. Currently, we have a presentation from the JMAX Bond Center, and we have some new business. We got to talk about our budget, which is one of the most important jobs we have on the community board. Oh, hi, Barry. Nice to see you.
Oh, Barry's here.
From Japan.
Hey guys. Yep.
Hello. What time is it there?
7:30 in the morning.
Trooper that you are. Thank you. And then our old business and subcommittee task force type reports. And I do, under new business, want to make sure Dan McSweeney is heard. I know, Dan, you have a topic to talk to us about. Kind of an out there, crazy, wild idea about housing. So we're looking forward to brainstorming with you. Are there any other topics, anybody who's on the call that had a specific concern or topic that they wanted to bring up tonight? And we can add it to the agenda now, and then we'll talk about it when it comes to that moment of the agenda.
Yeah, this is Carolyn Mantley, my first time on. Welcome. Thanks for having me. I've received emails a few times, but I usually have meetings at the same time. So thank God I was able to join tonight. My concern is with the New York City housing, NYCHA.
Okay.
I know you heard about it already, but it's rats running around rapidly. Just last week, rat jumped into the baby stroller. It was unbelievable, devastating, heartbroken. There's something needs to be done about this as soon as possible.
Okay, let me put this under new business, because I want to make sure we know what happens and the concerns. So Carolyn, thank you for joining us. So with NYCHA, you're a NYCHA resident, I take it?
My mother is. I take care of my mom right there in King Tower.
Yeah. Oh, why don't we bring this up under new business so we can talk about it thoroughly, Carolyn. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Anything else to add to the agenda? We can't officially adopt until we get one more member in person. Is Juan here? Ooh,
I can see his helmet.
you can see his helmet. Juan makes 4. Hi, Juan. We celebrate that you're here. No, you're okay. We celebrate that you gave us quorum. Well done. You win the prize. Have a coffee and a sweet. Welcome, Juan. Settle down. Yes. So we do have quorum now. that means I'll officially call this meeting to order at 6:45. And also, ask for an adoption of the agenda as, written on the screen with those couple of friendly amendments, unless there's anything else to add.
I move to adopt the agenda.
All right, Ilana seconds, and thank you, Liz, for taking notes tonight. She's working hard. Gold star to you. Usually that's our fearless Clayton, but he is out right now, so. All right, so,
Sorry.
oh, that's okay. So minutes, a little bit more business before we get to the business at hand tonight. I'm gonna put the minutes from September up on the screen. That would be, where is it? It's always fun to try and find things. All these screens on your computer. Give me 1 second. Thought it was in there. There it is. All right, I'm bringing them up now. There we go. Sure. Okay, so you can see that on the screen. These are our minutes from September. If did committee members get a chance to look at that? Because me and Liz didn't have a chance to really look through them yet. So we can't hold these over till next time if we need to. But this is what we spoke about last.
I think we should just hold them over until next month.
All right, we will hold these over until next month, just so that we all have a chance to take a look at them. Thank you to Clayton from afar for taking them. But committee members, please do. Oh, Clayton's here. Hi, Clayton.
Hey, how's it going?
So I don't think everybody had a chance to look at them yet, so we'll hold it over till next time, but thank you. We appreciate it as always. Okay, so we are not going to put those officially into the record. All right, so that said, I'll put the agenda back on. All right, introductions. So now we have kind of a small group, so we can go around and say hello to everyone here. First, I want to introduce our committee members, and then our public members, if any, online, then our other community board members online, and then the public who has joined us or agencies that have joined us. So my name is Signe Mortensen. I am co-chair of Housing, Land Use and Zoning. I live on 150th, been in this area about 16 years, and I'll pass it over to Liz, and you pass it to someone else when you're done.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Signe. Hi, everyone. Liz Whitetakis, also co-chair of Housing, Land Use and Zoning. I live in an HDFC on Convent Avenue, and my day job is doing historic preservation. So talking about zoning and land use is somewhat in my wheel well, but a bit adjacent. So always good to listen and learn from the community. I will pass it on to Juan.
Hi, October. I'm reading the minutes from last December.
Signe, I don't know if you know, but your camera is off on the owl.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ah, look at that. Oh, hi, there we are.
There we go.
Here we are. Yes, I forgot to turn that on. Thank you, Barry. Do you want me to ask Clayton?
Yeah.
Clayton, would you be willing to take over minutes for Liz at this point? You got it. She's happy. Thank you, Clayton. And Juan, yes.
Yes, so high school teacher, living in Harlem since 1993, reading the minutes from last month. They look very familiar, so I was here. And that's it.
Excellent.
I'll pass it to my co-committee member. I see you all the time
Hi.
on Convent Avenue.
Yes. Lana Mercado, I'm originally from the Bronx. I've been living in Harlem since 2006. I live in an affordable HPC co-op. I'm on this committee. I'm also on arts and culture. And I've been on the board since 2017. I don't remember if I said it already, but that's why I'm drinking coffee.
You're old school now.
The way Yeah. Do I pass it to someone online?
Pass it to someone on the committee online.
Barry.
Good evening, folks. Good morning from Tokyo. I'm Barry Weinberg. I live at 138th and Riverside, and I have been on the board for 12 years now, I think. And most of that time on housing, zoning, and land use. And I also currently serve as the first vice chair of the board. And I will pass to Clayton.
Hey, my name's Clayton. I'm zooming in from the less exciting location of California for work trip. And I'm excited to be here. Second year on the board, first year on this committee. And it's possible I may have to drop off later on. I'll let you guys know if not, if so, but I think I should be good. They should be good to take the minutes. So I'll keep you all up to date.
Great. And pass it along.
Who else is online? Is that all the board members or all the committee members?
I think that's all the committee members, so why don't you pass it to, do we have any, I don't think, oh, we have Tanya. Pass it to Tanya,
Yeah, Tanya.
public members.
Thanks, Clayton. Hi, everyone. It's been a long time. Great to see everybody. I am a public member on the Housing and Land Use Committee for probably, I guess, 2.5 years now, I think. I've lived in the neighborhood for 8 years, was on 149th, now I'm on 148th. And great to see everybody. Oh,
And why don't you pass it to committee members, community board member, Heather, Jason.
I'll pass it to Heather Jason. Thank you.
I'm co-chair of the Landmarks Preservation and Parks Committee. I'm also on the Health and Environment, and I've been on the Community Board for 5 years.
Thanks, Heather.
I don't see.
Yeah, I think that's all community board members, right? Yeah, I think so. All right, well then we'll just move on to community members and other folks on the line. Just tell us very quickly who you are and if you represent an organization or a city agency. Tell us what that is. If anything else to add, let us know. But I'm gonna go in the order that I see on the screen, and that starts with Dan McSweeney.
Yeah, hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Dan. I am a consultant and a volunteer with the Morningside Heights Community Coalition. I live on 111th Street. I'm very involved with the Block Association here, and I'm a native of Morningside Heights, spent a lot of my life here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Next name I see is Lizzie McWillie.
Hi, my name is Lizzie McWillie. I'm the Assistant Director of the J. Max Bond Center for Urban Futures, which is the research center at the Spitzer School of Architecture at City College.
Wonderful. Glad to have you here, and she will be presenting later, as you see on the schedule. Next I have is Audrey from DCP. Hi, Audrey.
Hi, everyone. My name is Audrey Walks. I'm a borough planner at DCP, working with your board as well as Community Board 12.
Thank you. Carolyn, you're next. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about who you are and say hello again.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Sorry, I don't got my camera on this phone. Don't allow me to show my face. But the bottom line is I'm Carolyn Bentley. I grew up and raised in Harlem, NYCHA, King Tower projects, which are formerly there, giving back to the community. I'm very involved in the community, as well as take care of my mom in King Tower. She's still there. So I'm very involved with her, as well as the other seniors, advocating for the seniors, and as well as the family. So I'm glad to be on tonight to find out what's going on in the community. And thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming, even more so. Jose, would you like to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Jose Trucios, planning team leader for Upper Manhattan. And, pleasure to have been working with Community Board 9 for, I believe now 2 years, maybe? Something like that. So.
Sounds right. Okay, the last two names here. Yuen Chin, say hello, who you are.
Hi, everyone. Yuen Chin, resident of West Harlem for the last 28 years or so, representing Hamilton Heights, West Harlem Community Preservation Organization and Harlem One South. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Tiffany, hi Tiffany.
Hi everyone, Tiffany Khan. I've lived in the district since 2008. Previously served on the board the committee until about 2 years ago, but I still pop in.
Yes, we're working on that. But you're going in and out just a little bit, just so you know, with your service if you are talking later.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I actually have another call in 5 minutes, so
Oh, okay, all right. Well, we'll miss you.
I'll
All
try
right.
to keep the, somehow multitask, but
Yeah. Understood. All right, that's everyone I see online. So thank you everyone for introducing yourself. So we know the devoted people on the line tonight. Anything I'm missing before we move forward, team? Good. All right, so that brings us to presentations and announcements. And we're happy to welcome Lizzie McWillie again to tell us about the J. Max Bond Center and a symposium they have coming up. So Lizzie, please take the floor and you should be able to share your screen. Let me know if you can't.
Let's see. It says I cannot while someone else is.
I got you. There you go. Try now.
Thank you.
You got it.
Great. Thank you so much. I know you guys have a lot on your agenda, so I'll keep this brief. But like I said, I'm the assistant director of the J. Max Bond Center for Urban Futures, which is the applied research center at the architecture school at City College. Some of you may be familiar with our namesake, J. Max Bond, and the upcoming symposium is a celebration of the 60th anniversary of the Architects Renewal Committee in Harlem, which J. Max Bond was the director of for a number of years. The Architects Renewal Committee in Harlem, also known as ARCH, was one of the first community design centers or nonprofit architecture and planning firms in the country. It had a really big influence on practice and architectural education and advocacy when it comes to housing and the role that architects and planners play in the development of the community and how residents and folks are involved in that process, or how the kind of evolution of thinking of how resident participation, activist participation impacts development. And so it was founded in 1964. We're taking this opportunity to kind of reflect on its impact and how current practitioners, residents, advocates are facing some of the same challenges that ARCH was looking at when it was founded. So I wanted to let folks on this committee know, because I think there are a lot of topics that might be of interest that we're going to be covering. The symposium will be held on November 15th and 16th at Aaron Davis Hall, which is on City College campus. On the 15th, we'll have a keynote lecture and reception at 5:30. We have Dr. Semalu Alora Lee Raymond, who's the director of the PhD program and assistant professor of city and regional planning at Georgia Institute of Technology. Her keynote is called Race, Gentrification, and the Financialization of Housing. She's an expert on housing and displacement. She's testified in front of the House Ways and Means Committee, and she will be presenting her work with a response from Moses Gates, who's the vice president for housing and neighborhood planning at the Regional Plan Association, which has been part of the New York planning scene for decades. And then on the 16th, we'll have 3 panels that will start with kind of an acknowledgement and overview of some of Arch's projects as a starting point for conversation about the evolution of that work and its impact today. So the first panel is on community design. We have Brian Goldstein, who's an expert. He's writing a book about J. Max Bond. A number of other folks that names that you might recognize, Roberta Washington. They'll be talking about community design and Arch's impact on Harlem and design more broadly. Then the second panel will be on housing. We'll talk about some of Arch's housing proposals. This image is from a work that they did about infill housing all across Harlem and their proposal for how to address what at the time there was a lot of vacancy and city-owned properties. And so they put together a proposal on how to address that, and also worked with organizations like Met Council on Housing to develop materials for tenants to better understand their rights. So we have a number of folks that'll be speaking on that panel. Again, names that you might be familiar with, organizations that are Harlem-based. Met Council on Housing's done a lot of work in Harlem. A. Philip Randolph Square Neighborhood Alliance, Community League of the Heights, and Monadnock Development, who have both done a number of developments across Harlem. And then the last panel will be on the evolution of 125th Street. One of Arch's most well-known projects was a proposal kind of in opposition to or counter to the original plan for the state office building on 125th Street. But we'll be looking at 125th Street all east to west. And so we have a number of folks who were involved in the rezoning and also in community development in Harlem more broadly. Curtis Archer, Kenneth Nichols, Maxine Griffith, who was at Columbia. And then that's going to be moderated by Sean Rickenbacker, who folks might have met before. He's the director here, and I know has worked with folks on Community Board 9 in the past. So that'll be a full day of activity. This is the registration information. We have a QR code and a bit.ly link, which I can put in the chat. And then, if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me or, obviously ask me now. But, if you come up with any questions later and you want to ask me, this is my email. Again, my name is Lizzie McWillie. And I would be excited for any or all of you to join us on the 15th and 16th of November.
Great. If anyone has questions, feel free to raise your hand or just say something now, since we are a small group.
What is her last name?
McWillie.
McWillie.
Yeah.
I went to City College in 1991, when the School of Architecture was a Shepherd Hall. And I worked for a little bit in a place called the City College Architectural Center. Is that, what happened to that place?
That's actually us now. So it evolved into the J. Max Bond Center. J. Max Bond, in addition to his other roles as the head of Arch and with his own practice, Davis Brody Bond, he was also the dean here. So the Architectural Center kind of evolved into the J. Max Bond Center for Urban Futures.
Okay, I'm gonna write to you in the chat and see if I can connect with it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that would be great. Thank you. Yes.
Is this
Hi,
a
Lizzie.
free event?
This meeting is.
Oh my God. Sorry.
What happened?
Okay, so I think Liz has a question.
Okay. Lizzie, thanks so much for being here. I just registered. I think someone else told me this event was going to be happening, but I'm glad to see it. This is sort of a side comment / question. I was going to bring it up later on tonight, but I live on Convent. I just walked through the campus and noticed that there's something being constructed in the parking lot on the corner of 135 and Convent. So I just looked up the permits, and it seems like City College is building electric charging stations.
That's what I've heard. I was told solar panels in the parking lot, and I think it's
Yeah.
part of a, yeah. But I don't know how long that's going on for.
So it's just how to say this. When we're talking about collaborating with the community, between the campus and the community, it would just be really good to, you know, have these conversations with the community, like, you know, infrastructure such as electric car charging. I mean, we have a huge issue in Upper Manhattan with vehicles and not enough parking. A lot of people are buying electric cars or don't want to buy electric cars because there isn't any charging. There's really only one in Upper Manhattan that I'm aware of, and it's on the sidewalk. It would be good to have a fuller conversation with City College and their goals for electrified, assisting in with electrified vehicles.
Yeah, I can find out. I didn't even know about it until I saw it last week. So I can find out who how those conversations have gone, because I'm actually sure who.
And I was like, well, I don't know if I should really bring it up right now, but
No, I
so-
know. I'm happy to
You know,
look into it.
We used to have representatives from Columbia, from City College, come every once in a while and talk to us about what's going on. I haven't seen anyone. Barry, have you? I don't think we've seen anyone in a while, right? Coming from Columbia and City College, just kind of giving us updates.
I don't think so. Anthony and
You should reach
Julie,
out and invite them again. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, we should.
Or remind them kindly that we're expecting them to come, maybe, you know, every 6 months or so.
Yeah, once in the fall and once in the spring would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will talk to Victor.
Yeah, let's see. Make sure we have the right contact, because I know it's changed and things are can be chaotic at times. Any other questions for Lizzie?
Maybe here for housing, land use and zoning, or
I'm a journalism student.
at Columbia.
Great. We welcome our journalism students from Columbia always. Thank you. All right, Lizzie, we see your email in the chat. Thank you for that. I believe that that is our presentations for the evening. Hi, Annette, welcome. Get settled. No worries. We just had our presentation from J. Max Bond Center. We're moving along. If anyone else has any announcements about housing or, you know, events going on or things that they would like us to know about, now would be the time to go ahead and announce it. Could be other things in your community that you are hosting. Happy to hear about that now if anybody has anything. UN?
It's a question about the city council vote today. Do we know how that went?
Not that I know of. Does anyone else know how the council voted today? I've been at work all day. I've not.
I think it would have been the committee vote. I think the stated meeting is on Thursday. Which is their general board meeting, their full meeting.
So vote was today. Council vote is Thursday, Barry? That's what we're understanding?
That would be my understanding, yes.
So today, so what was today? Another hearing?
No, they had the hearings already. This is where they would be, so it was approved and referred back to the CPC with modifications and referred to CPC. Action details.
So I wonder what those modifications were.
We would love to have an Abreu representative come talk to us. I was hoping someone would be here tonight, so we'll see. Sorry, Brett.
Sorry, Jose here. We don't have the modification letter yet. I believe it's gonna be made available tomorrow, perhaps, or the day after. So we'll keep you updated of that, but we have been made aware that some modifications are gonna be made.
Jose, does that letter, do those modifications require review by the City Planning Commission, or?
Yeah.
So the 50-day clock on the council is kind of paused?
That's a good question, because I have a tentative kind of like vote process on this. Essentially, we will have to bring it back to the commission by next week on the 15th, where you essentially present the modifications. The commission kind of have a scope and approve either the modifications. And I believe the vote is now slated for the 23rd of October.
Any opportunities to comment at that?
That's what I want to find out. I think, I don't think it's an open kind of like a public review process on that, or like a public hearing. But I will, we can get back to you on that, because me and Audrey were wondering about the process itself as well earlier today when we heard about the modifications.
Okay. Thank you.
It looks like it extended it by 3 weeks based online on Zap. That's what I'm trying to remember exactly how it worked. Yeah, now it's the 28th. Whereas I think the original council deadline was the 10th, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So there's time to email your elected officials still. So
I think we got to go beyond the council person, and because Mark seemed to be leading the charge on this. So I think we have to shift our attention to Mark.
what's the next phase though? The next, it has to go to the mayor as well, so. But who knows?
We're gonna even have a.
Yeah.
For the mayor.
Okay, well, barring any other announcements, we'll go to new business discussions, and I'll welcome Dan McSweeney to the stage. Dan emailed us a couple days ago with a big, bold idea and thought, and he wanted to brainstorm with us. He's not bringing forth like a project or anything, right, Dan? But you have an idea, and you wanted to chat with us about it, so tell us your idea, please.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Big and bold, I guess, would be a way to describe it. Other people might say it's crazy, but basically, for the past 20 years or so, I've been working on an effort to preserve and redevelop an old ocean liner called the SS United States. I'm going to show a picture of it, if you can see.
Yeah, we see it.
That's the kind of ship it is. It's in Philadelphia, and we've gotten fairly close to being able to bring it to New York as a mixed-use project, hotel, restaurants, retail, etc. However, unfortunately, those plans fell apart, and now the ship is once again facing an uncertain future, potentially going to be sunk in Florida to create the world's largest artificial reef. Now, the reason this is potentially relevant and of interest to our community is I woke up one morning and thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we could bring the SS United States to the Harlem waterfront and use it to accomplish a variety of objectives. Number one, affordable housing. Number two, economic development. Number three, power generation through a microgrid. And number four, a way of building bridges among the various institutions and the local communities of Community Board 9. So it's a radically ambitious idea. And so I wrote to Signe and Victor, and I just said, hey, what do y'all think of this? Do you think it makes any sense? And, it would be extremely difficult. However, this is a public forum, as Signe said, and so therefore I just thought I'd bring this up. So there it is. That's the big, bold idea.
So Dan, we have a lot of brains on the line, and I just wanted you to come and bring it forth. I know you're not showing any, there's no formal presentation of any sort here. You just have an idea. You want to get some feedback as to, is it something that from people's experience on this line, is it something that could be feasible? What would the barriers be, and what people think in general? We're not supporting or not, there's no support or no support here. We are brainstorming with an individual. Yes, Liz.
Dan, is there any precedent for other ocean liners to become all of this stuff?
There's
Residential?
precedent in Long Beach, California, where the Queen Mary operates as a fairly successful hotel. And I believe there are a couple of other examples of large vessels being used for temporary housing, but nothing like this.
Oh, do you know who owns the Queen Mary? Is it privately owned?
As I understand it, originally the municipality of Long Beach purchased the ship. And since that time, it's gone through a variety of either owners or operators, including some of the larger hotel chains.
There's a very cool hotel in Berlin that is one of those ships also. And the whole thing gets rented all the time. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Berlin. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm all for preserving things, so I don't know if we can do it or if it belongs in our neighborhood, but I like your idea.
Where would it dock? Where would you dock this?
Big question, Yuan, and yeah.
I think, it's an interesting idea, but no idea is too crazy. We already have one on the table for 135th.
Sitting there, right?
And the marine transfer, exactly.
That's the thought that first comes to mind, but me
yeah.
too. Yeah. Thought? Oh, Yuan, you had a thought?
Yeah. I had mentioned to our council member, a few weeks ago, when I ran into him on the street and approached him on the 135th Street project. And I said that what we need is a community session in light of the Arts and Culture Bill, which hasn't yet been signed by the governor. But we need to have a community meeting so people can talk about what they want to see in the community, and specifically how to develop the waterfront. Whether leave it as a natural thing, or what would be of a community benefit in terms of the activity along the waterfront, which is one of our most precious assets.
Yeah, it's time to open it up again. We've done that a few times with various agencies. Staff has done that and all this, but we need some of our elected officials help support and push.
And he said this was something that he would be happy to co-sponsor, So I think at some point, I don't know if it's this year or next year, the West Harlem CPO will be organizing such a community meeting, and we'll reach out to you guys for co-sponsorship as well as the council member, because it's crazy the ideas that come up for that waterfront, none of which really, bring economic development or is of huge benefit to the West Harlem community. But Dan's, all ideas, I imagine that all ideas would be on the table at such a meeting. And, people might like different components of, say, dance thing, and it could be scaled back or retooled to something that would be of benefit to the community. So it's crazy, but not crazy. You start way out there and then you come back. So that's
why I appreciate.
Oh.
I appreciate the feedback. Part of the reason that this came up is I've been doing some work with the Interfaith Commission for Housing Equality, and apparently there was some issues with their desires to redevelop or develop, I should say, the Fairway site, and Columbia having purchased it secretly, as I understand it. And so this is, if it were to be placed in that general area, could create an opportunity for local real estate development or economic development to occur. So I'm totally hearing that point that never do we want somebody from the outside to come in and like impose their will. And I'm sure the community board wouldn't support that or allow it. But this, in my mind, could be a way of organically connecting different stakeholders in Harlem, in West Harlem.
Cool.
All right.
Right. Oh, go. You have another? Yeah.
Or at least because there might not be a lot of financial resources locally, but we should at least develop a framework, or an update of what's already been discussed over the years. We need a refresh on this and a development of that waterfront that is community driven as opposed to be driven by developers.
Yeah. I have a question in the room with Ilana, and then I have Clayton and Barry on the line. Ilana.
So I think that's great. Like I'm supportive of any of those uses. I think that's great. But I have a question just in terms of like if it's used as like housing or temporary housing. So if there's like a storm or a flood, and I know people live in houseboats and things like that. Just curious, like what happens? It's safer to stay like moored, like anchored into the area, or to go somewhere. Like how does that work, and what would be the plan? If it was used for some sort of housing.
Yeah.
And there was a flood or a storm.
It could be moored in several different ways. Two main ways, I guess you could say. Traditional mooring, which would actually be a very resilient way to deal with a storm, or permanently mooring, which means placing it oftentimes in concrete. And so having the appearance of the ship floating, but it actually being attached permanently. Either of those ways would allow for resilience in the era of climate change. But again, this is such a huge project that this would take massive amounts of planning and funding. However, there are developers that have expressed interest, and some of these are capitalized. The main issue is, where would the ship go? And so looking at Gowanus Bay in Brooklyn and looking potentially at Harlem are two thoughts that I've had. And so that's why I've been expressing this. But there's been a massive amount of work, planning work done. RXR developers spent about $6 million just on feasibility studies and 3D blueprints and all kinds of other analyses of the vessel.
And Dan, thank you for your service. You were in the Navy? Is that correct?
I was in the Marines.
You were in the Marines. Excusez-moi. Excusez-moi. You were in the Marines. Corrected. Let's see. Clayton and then Barry.
This is a quick question, but is this associated with some type of funding source or something like that? Because it seems awesome. I love, affordable housing on a boat. That'd be cool. But like, it also seems like it could be prohibitively expensive to rehabilitate a boat and keep all the maintenance up and things like that.
Without a doubt, hundreds of millions of dollars. However, in terms of the scale that's offered by the ship, it's on par with new construction, land-based construction. There's very limited funding on the part of the owners of the ship, the nonprofit that I was involved with and co-founded 20 years ago. They do have some amount of funds, but nowhere near what would be needed. However, an interim step could be bringing the ship to Gowanus Bay, where there's a pier owned by John Quadrosi, who's willing to keep the ship there under very flexible terms. So this could be a way of generating private sector investment if there was a defined purpose for the vessel, as well as potential government funding, depending on how the ship is used and how good our advocacy and connections are.
I see. That makes a lot of sense. I think my only concern would be like if we have a limited pool of government affordable housing funding, and I'd rather it go to units that are less expensive to construct than more. But if there's a special funding source available for this, then yeah, it's a crazy idea, but crazy ideas are good to talk about.
Thanks.
Barry.
Yep. Thanks for bringing this idea, Dan. It's really interesting. I just wanted to address Yuen's point about community visioning for the waterfront. I think that in some of our discussions around the Interfaith Commission's conversations about the Fairway site was that there had been floated this idea of returning to the Harlem on the Hudson proposal, which Community Board 9, in collaboration with We Act, kind of got canceled, and instead put forth our own proposal that was supported by the electeds and the state government and the city government, called Harlem on the River, which was a kind of very equitably focused development plan for the waterfront. Fairway was actually one of the economic anchors of that plan, and several parts of the plan have actually already been achieved, including the West Harlem Piers Park. And I think that while it's like those documents, along with the Marine Transfer Station study that was done through a similar process between the Community Board and We Act, have been kind of the groundwork or the starting point for many of our discussions around the Fairway site. But those documents are several decades old. And so it wouldn't hurt to update them, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that we're not starting from a blank slate here. Community Board already has official positions on the development of the waterfront and West Harlem piers. Obviously, none of those really envisioned Columbia coming in and buying an enormous chunk of it. But those values and priorities, I think, are still largely the same.
Heather, I see you have a question.
Sure, thank you. Yes. I only ask that as you develop your proposal, if you would be mindful and take into consideration and provide the community with information about the emissions from this potential vessel, and then any environmental factors that might be involved in terms of the amount of greenhouse gases that this vessel might be emanating. So just curious about that, what type of energy source it will use, and what type of pollutants it will be bringing into the community. Thank you.
I would imagine something of this size would require some serious environmental review, but yeah. But Dan, thanks for bringing it forward. This is what we're here for. Think tanks. Let's be a think tank. I like it. Any other thoughts, comments for Dan? Hey, Jared. Hi. We have a few people that popped on while we've been chit-chatting away. I see. Joshua Christopher, hello. How are you? Hello, Jared. Who else? I think that's the new folks that just popped on. All right. Thank you, Dan.
Can I make one quick last point?
Yeah, sure.
Which is that part of the kind of motivation for this is we've been challenging Columbia with two specific proposals to provide affordable housing. And in the kind of brainstorming on this, I felt this could be a way, as I said earlier, of bridging institutional community gaps. We are hoping to get some positive outcomes from our proposals to Columbia. And of course, we would let you know when that occurs. But thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this big, bold, I think is better than crazy to describe the idea.
Nothing is crazy if we can put our minds to it, right? All right. So, Carolyn, tell us a little bit more about what brought you here today. It sounds like it's a rat issue that's popped up, and please tell us the story about what's happening so that, because not all of us may have heard the story or know the story. So tell us your concern tonight. Ms. Manley, are you still there?
Yes, I'm trying to unmute myself. Thank you very much for being patient. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you for having me. Yeah, I know you most likely heard about it, but mostly in the nature development is getting worse with these rats. I know right before the pandemic it was bad, but then once the pandemic hit, it got even worse. They was putting the garbage cans out there in front of the buildings and the projects with the tops on them, the lids on them, try to keep the rats away, because when you walk in the building, they're attacking your feet. They got a little better, but now they got worse. Now they coming in the people cars, like in the parking lot. King Towers development, this is a parking lot right there in front of 21 and 41. There's a parking lot right there. And the rats go up in the cars, the people vehicles.
Ms. Manley, which nitrogen development are you specifically talking about right now?
King Towers.
King's Towers. I think it's in
King
10.
Towers,
It's not 10, it's 11.
Oh,
it's 112th
that's
Street between Lennox and Fifth Avenue.
downtown. Yeah, gotcha. Just wanted to make sure, is this a development in our district that you were specifically mentioning, or it was something that you know downtown?
No, this is to the east of us in central Harlem. Just so, Ms. Manley, just so you know, Community Board 9, of which we are a committee, is from 110 to 155th, but it's west of St. Nicholas and Morningside Avenue, generally speaking.
Yeah, so we want to
and
make sure
so,
you also talk to the right community board, but we want to hear your concerns. But
right, this is an important topic for NYCHA across the city, and we do have 3 NYCHA developments in our district: Manhattanville houses, Grant houses, and Audubon houses. So, but I think it's a NYCHA-wide issue that's been happening. So please continue.
Yes, that's what it is. It's all over. Matter of fact, not just NYCHA. It's all over the city. It's all over the world. It's getting worse. Unfortunately, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I'm just trying to highlight that. Thank you for letting me know what community board this is. That I've been receiving emails. I'm signed up somewhere. So the bottom line is, it's just out of control. It was just last week, a rat literally jumped in the baby's stroller. Literally. It's devastating. Just imagine something like that. And, with a mother pushing her stroller and the rat jumps in the stroller with the child. I mean, something has to be done about this. Yeah, something has to be done about this. They're trying to do something about it, but whatever they're doing it's like, instead of getting better, it's been getting worse.
One of the
How about
things that
contacting? How about contacting the rat and garbage czar?
well, I was about to say, so both Central Harlem, where King Towers is, and West Harlem are in a rat mitigation zone. And so the rat czar, I'm blanking on her name. She's a Catherine, it'll come to me. But so they have been devoting some specific resources to this. Kathleen Karate is the name. One of which, at least that's been deployed in our neighborhood, is containerized waste disposal, where waste has to be put out in not only trash cans with lids for small buildings, but these kind of larger bin dumpster type contraptions, including for NYCHA buildings, which I think was an early start for the program, along with schools. So it might be worth, contacting your local board, which I think is Community Board 10, and also the rat mitigation folks at the city to see if you can do kind of a walk around tour of them of the area surrounding King Towers and in King Towers to see what are the sources of food for these rats, because there is a saying that I learned from her, which is if you feed them, you breed them. And so a lot of the city's focus on rat mitigation has been on removing rat food sources, as well as I know there was some innovative rat extermination work done at grant houses with carbon dioxide and rat burrows. And so those are some things that might be, they put dry ice in the burrows, and it, essentially pushes out all the oxygen from the burrows. So, from both a removing the food perspective and a targeting the burrows perspective, that might be something where you could get a very targeted response from the city and from the housing authority.
Thank you very
Suffocates the
much.
poor
Thank
little
you very
rats.
much. Thank you for sharing that information. I'll definitely look into that. I appreciate that.
Okay,
I'm gonna put it in the chat in a moment.
Control.
When, do we have a sense, like, when is the Department of Sanitation coming back in front of the full board? I guess that Barry might know.
I don't know. Is sanitation coming back before full board? They came, what?
It was at
Last, they were at last.
They were at last.
Yeah.
month's. That's
Yeah,
true.
there was a long discussion at last month's with them, I think, so. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Carolyn, very much for coming. Next, we're going to open the topic of our fiscal year 25 to 26. Yes, that is the fiscal year we're talking about. Budget discussion. Every year we have to go through this process of budget. For the city budget, we put our 2 cents in for what we think the city should focus on for our area on budget. We're talking capital and expense. So we're gonna open that topic up. We wanna get ideas from folks. I don't have last year's information in front of me, so I don't have that to look at, but there will be a public hearing, usually around the end of October here, to go through all of last year's budget items and the new ones that we want to add to it. And we go through and we look at all the areas concerning housing, land use, and zoning, all the agencies concerning that. The budget requests, of course, go to the city, but then we have to attach an agency that would hold that budget to those requests. So whether that's NYCHA, for instance, or, HPD, Housing Preservation, or other agencies that cover our area, that is something that we have to do as a community board. So I'll see if I can find our budget from last year as I'm sitting here, but we would like to open the floor to any new ideas. Capital expenses are, of course, ones that have to do with infrastructure, building improvements, hardcore things like that. Expenses is more staffing, expenses for departments or expense type items like that. So just so you know what the difference is there, but so if anyone has some ideas, big and bold ideas, new ideas, we welcome it now. I'm gonna open the floor to that and see if I can find our budget from last year real quick.
It's on that email that you just sent us.
Yeah, is it on there?
She has the line item.
The Excel
She sent it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And I believe the budget hearing is set for the 16th. I'm not sure if you could just confirm that, but that's my understanding. Yes.
Okay, can anyone bring that up while I'm looking for it?
October 1st was the first email from Yutha. This is what the email looks like.
Okay.
Well, my favorite is always that builds it on, what is it, 142nd? between the HPD building, between Broadway and Riverside, isn't it? Barry, you remember?
You mean
Yeah,
the
that's
one,
Liz's favorite. It's a Till building.
the Till building?
The
that-
141.
Okay.
141 on the north side of the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sit in empty and pretty, and we're in need of affordable housing.
October 1st at 6:17.
Yeah, it's not the normal way we look at it.
I don't have that. Was it the second?
You are right, you are not on this email.
Okay, I did not receive the email, so I'm gonna have to ask someone else to.
Here,
To
I'm
share?
gonna forward it to you.
Okay, that's why I was so confused. I was like, where's the budget information? I need to know this.
I just sent it to you,
Thank you.
and I'm opening it up, but I'm not online to share it.
Okay, I'll share it. Has anyone been able to take a look at the documentation on there?
I think it was resent on the second as well.
If I wasn't on the first email, I'm probably not on the second.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I just got it. Yeah, first time I've seen it. Good to know. Oh yeah, and the hearing. Wednesday the 16th. All right, I'll let you know I'm not on the list.
She has one there too with the district's need statement that was created.
Lovely, I'll ask for it tomorrow. So each year, all 59 community boards do I submit a district needs. So we need to submit our district needs statement, which is a statement about what we feel is most needed on our district for budget. We focus on the housing, land use and zoning portion of that. Each of our committees focus on different areas. Online prices in the standardized format for all community boards, okay. Combining the statement of district needs and community board budget requests. All right, I'm just reading it as I go because I'm catching up. I don't think. There it is, okay. Bear with me, guys.
Yeah, I'm identifying the line items in the,
Oh, you I'm just opening everything. All right, I'm just gonna share a couple of things here. Let's see, this one. Close. Okay, so agency contacts, so. This right here. Shows the agencies that. Will receive our requests. And this, there it is, right? The budget register, as they call it, is the line items that we submitted last year, fiscal year 25. And now we need to go and take a look at this and then update it for 26. So if there's any new line items or any changes to these items, I'm gonna ask you to start taking a look there, look for anything housing, zoning and land use related, and I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
A little bit.
and Signy and Liz, there's also the one that Annette mentioned about the district needs. That might be a good place to start rather than the budget, because the idea of the budget process is you first catalog the needs of your district, and then you propose budget items to solve them. And obviously, like, affordable housing is still going to be our number one request, but the needs part, I think we pull statistics every year from the Furman Center and from Open Data NYC to support our arguments about the need for housing. And that might also be something that someone might want to look at and get an understanding of how they can contribute. I unfortunately have to hop off in a moment because it is breakfast time here at the hotel.
All right, we're trying to bring up, Barry, is the list of needs in here already? Budget request.
Would have been the same. It would have been the same or a very similar email from Youtha that had them broken out by committee. One moment.
Yeah. I'm on Sydney's computer now.
Cause the email that you sent was from last Thursday, that has the lead statement.
I think it's the last PDF.
So it's a different email than the first one she sent?
Yeah, it came after.
I'm going to forward it to you, Signe,
Thank you.
Okay.
because it was the chairs I think were BCC'd, so I didn't notice that you weren't.
Yeah, I'm not on any of them, so I'll have to tell you.
All right, I just forwarded it to you, and there are all of the attachments start FY 2025 statement MN09, and then it's ours would be, I think we have the top three because housing's in the top three, but then also housing, eco dev, and land use is one of the attachments.
All right, we're looking for it.
It has the picture of the map on it, right?
Mm.
I can send it to you now, Sydney, if you
If
yeah.
Barry's forwarding it.
It's taking a while coming from Japan, apparently.
Yes, it has to come all the way from Japan. Yeah, that would be it, but.
You can't put it on.
I would, well.
I mean, Juan, are you on the, he could share his screen.
Here with that?
If you're on,
You would have to stop sharing yours.
is he on? I don't
Yeah,
think
it's on one of those.
Are you on Zoom
he's
now?
not on Zoom.
It's on the top.
I
It's on
have
the
it.
next tab.
I have, very soon.
Okay. All right. She's got it, Juan.
So the first section is just like a broad neighborhood overview, and then the top three priorities, and then the other one that's probably relevant is our housing economic development.
I'm opening them up right now. Looking for the housing. Housing. Okay. That. This is top three. All right, top three issues overall. And this was from last year, right? So this is what we did last year.
Read it.
4.
So I gotta move this over because I can't see it. Yeah, great. So our three most pressing issues from last year, top one was affordable housing, healthcare services, and then schools were the three, yep. So let's see if we can paraphrase some of this. Biggest concern is displacement caused by post-pandemic rent increases, gentrification in general, pressure by neighboring educational institutions, lack of maintenance, both by private owners and HPD. In addition to years of uncertainty for the TIL program, that would be the building we were referencing earlier on 141 between Broadway and Riverside. These concerns are magnified in general by the acute need for affordable housing for low, medium, and middle income families. A significant portion of CB9 renter households are overpaying for their rent. Rent overburdened Housing, in addition, the expiration of public subsidies, subsidy contracts for affordable housing and rapid private development in the few remaining soft sites in the district, long-term residents of public and rent-regulated and stabilized housing face the threat of displacement. 3333 Broadway is a recent example of a lost Mitchell-Lama property with over 2,000 apartments. Privatization of properties would render many residents homeless. Capital funding for repairs at Audubon and Manhattanville houses is currently in the RAD-PAC process. We have concerns about the long-term impact of these programs on tenant stability. Back to the tenant interim lease program, again, TIL. I don't know if, I'm not aware of any TILs in the last year, maybe if, I don't know if Barry's still here, that have moved forward in recent months or years. Tenants in these city-owned buildings gave up their rent-regulated leases in exchange for a commitment from the city to repair the buildings and sell the apartments to the tenants for $250. This reminds me of, what is it, 644
Riverside.
Riverside.
Yeah, that's all good.
Riverside Drive, to big buildings who, those were TIL buildings, Barry? No, not TIL buildings.
No, those buildings entered the third-party transfer system through the section 7A administrator in the early 2000s, which was too late for TIL. And so it was TPT from the start. Their landlord had been abysmal, and it was eventually taken away from the landlord and put into TPT, where it has been even more abysmally mismanaged by UHAB and SHUHAB.
But I think the result is the same thing of what we're saying in here about the TIL program is that the renovation of these buildings puts enormous debt burdens on those who either are currently living in their apartments or want to go back to their apartments.
Right, correct.
Yeah. So that seems to be all about that.
So that's the gist of the three top
Yeah.
concerns, including ours, which is housing.
So that's housing, and then healthcare services.
Yeah,
Do
we don't have to delve into that, but
focus on housing, right?
the only other thing in the housing section was the HPD violation data, which we need to update.
Right. We need to update data. And is there anything we need to delete or add from this in our concerns is my big question tonight. And is there anyone that's a data freak that is interested to update data?
Clayton.
I wasn't gonna call him. I was just like,
I don't know that that's the best term, but
He loves that. Come on, let's not throw Clayton under the bus.
Yeah, I pulled a lot of the numbers last year, so I can probably do it again. It shouldn't be too bad. That's kind of my job, so it works. One quick question, I might have missed it, but I think there's some comment about like in here about a tax abatement, which I guess would be a replacement to 421A or whichever one it was, which I guess is passed. So maybe we want to like comment on 485X or something if that's there. But maybe I also misheard. I thought that was something that was in here.
I don't think it's in there. I think it's in the next one.
Oh, okay, sorry.
This committee or the subject matter specific one.
no, not that one. It's one more over. This one.
This one?
Yes, this is no, maybe not, or maybe it's not OCR.
Well, maybe it's listed under, we have 421 or something.
421.
No.
I think I probably just misheard. I think I heard something and thought it was something else. So ignore me.
So here's my thought of what may or may not be missing in here is that the impact on the impact that,
All right, got it.
shelter and, Byberry, all of the mental health or the health facilities that are taking over, apartments are impacting the community.
Right. We have not addressed it in this one, correct?
Well, my computer is no longer freaking out on me. That's a good thing. In the,
Is it in our
yeah, where is
specific
the
one?
statement stuff? You think
The
it's
one
here?
specific to us?
Yeah. So this was our. So yeah, anyway. We, so this document, what is this one here?
That is,
This is
our drill down of our needs.
our drill down of our needs. So the drill down of our needs is, allocating funds for, the 135th Street Marine Transfer Station.
That's for, yeah, related to housing.
Yep.
Needs for land use.
Land use. This should have to do with the.
There's 1727 down there.
Where's the, oh yeah. 1727.
Wait, oh, our recent resolution. I guess we consider that still recent since it's still relevant.
Yeah, this is more of the data. I think Clayton, this is what you did last year. Oh yeah, here it is. You're right. It's down here.
There it is, 421A and J51.
Needs for economic,
skip through that.
Yeah, oh, right. Now I'm remembering this process from last year. I think that's the last one.
Okay. So Clayton, that's the area that addresses what you're talking about. So we need to update that a bit, is what you're saying, right?
I think actually most of that part might stand because I think like there's still buildings under 421A.
Sorry, say that one more time, Clayton.
Oh, sorry. It seems like most of that part would probably still stand because like a lot of buildings are still under 421A, even if new ones aren't.
Yes. Yep.
But yeah, might want to edit it. I guess one other quick thought, maybe building off the point Liz just made, is would it be possible to ask for some form of like more transparent citywide fair share analysis as far as shelters go? Because I think like I agree that parts of our district are overburdened, and at the same time, like citywide, we definitely need to have more shelters, not fewer. And like, is there a way we could ask for some type of study or quantification of like how much the burden on certain neighborhoods is compared to others and have that be incorporated into these decisions?
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea.
Yep, we could ask for, that would be expense money, I guess, right, for a study?
A study is expense and not capital. I think that would.
That makes sense,
I think
right?
that makes sense.
Okay, so put it in the notes, Clayton, that we wanna definitely add that. So we also talked last time about a resolution to ask for something like that too, I think, right? There's sort of formal thing that we could refer to in this document when we do that.
Right.
So just remembering we want to do some sort of resolution about that.
So at this time, no study exists.
I don't believe there is a formal city study done like that. No, I mean, we've had to hodgepodge and get data from all over the place to try and figure out exactly what saturation means, because
It would be helpful because
Yeah.
when we're complaining in comparison to other neighborhoods, it's not as if we're whining.
Exactly.
have-
I mean, we know for a fact that us compared to Staten Island, yeah, it's a huge difference.
Well,
right?
certain areas of Staten Island.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, and then not only, you know, the changes that are proposed for 1727, you know, that is displacing other organizations that are then not wanting to leave our community and taking over, you know, more, square footage that could be for, affordable housing, not that, what is it called? Is it assisted housing? No, what is it called?
supportive housing?
Supportive housing, thank you. But there does seem to be a lot of supportive housing.
In a 3-block
in
radius?
a very small radius, yes.
Yes, we.
Um,
So the resolutions support what we're saying here, that we do throughout the year. We need to update the data. Sorry, Nat, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, so it's safe to say that we're not against supportive housing, we just don't want it, our whole neighborhood saturated.
We want to understand data I mean, the data supports what we're saying, right? If that's, that we want to prove that the data supports what we're saying, because it sure feels that way. But we need data. And we understand that they can't tell us exactly what kind of supportive housing or homeless shelters, like it's domestic violence and, you know, involved in things like this, where you don't want people to know where people are being housed. But that doesn't mean that they can't give us data on how many are in our neighborhood.
Right.
I think there is some data out there. I've seen data floating, but I've never seen a comprehensive, you know, here's a map and here's all the housing, the different kinds of housing we're talking about. I've never seen it.
Yeah, that's by design.
I've seen one. I've seen an analysis that one group did, but I think like they're an East Harlem group, and they.
I was just saying, a group or the city? That was the question.
It was a group, and I think like they kind of chose the numbers to in a way that put forward their cause. And according to that one, we weren't particularly burdened, but like it's possible that that's not the right data.
Yeah.
Like I think they were focusing more on like a specific category of shelter.
Comptroller would be tasked to do? No,
I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think the city would do it. I think it would have to be an external group to pull this information together.
Yeah.
I don't think the city would put that out. The other thing, I think we should definitely ask for it. The other thing, you know, this, proposal that's going through, planning for, 701 West 135th Street reeks to me of, a proposal that is not aligned with the, ideas that are already in place for how to transform, transportation, in that area regarding Metro North and Amtrak.
Yeah, they have a plan to try and put a station there at some point, right? And so how does putting housing there?
Right, so I don't know, like, I'm thinking about how in this drill down, we're talking about allocate funds for the existing conditions report on the 135th Street Marine Transfer Station. We should look and see if they commented on that. But why not allocating funds for a city updated report on the goals for improved transportation as it relates to Amtrak and railway in that area.
Did you catch that, Clayton?
Jose is sending something.
Oh. Sorry, I can put on this screen. Tracker, NYHC. Housing. Housing tracker for June 2024.
I don't think, yeah, people can't see this. I don't have to stop sharing.
I can share on this. Okay, I'm gonna share what Jose just shared. Let me stop sharing. There we go, and I'll share from the screen. All right, so this, Jose, thank you. He just shared this. Housing tracker report. Affordable housing construction. All new housing. All right. Clayton, keep this handy for data. And it produced 14 housing units. See, some of these things come out and they slide by us and we never.
Jose, is there anything in here about TIL or HPD conversions for affordable housing or any kind of housing? Or is
I
it-
believe there is. To be honest, I haven't looked at this report closely because I was looking actually for the tracker. So there is a map that I believe when we share a housing opportunity with you, we kind of like touch on it for new construction. I just emailed or things message somebody at HPD because I know HPD has a tracker that I couldn't find in my bookmark things, but I know it was bookmarked on my computer at work. It's not the most intuitive tracker there is, but kind of tracks essentially, all affordable housing or all type of programs that HPD does. They had the new construction, the senior housing, SARA, in a tracker that is used to do this kind of reports. But I'm just taking notes, and also we already trying to get this information. I think it's fair to ask, to add in it. I just want to make sure, like, if we can provide it and to you early on before you put that report together, so you can either say like, do a better job at distributing this information rather than creating it, because they could be seen as something that you are, not getting this information or not aware that this is happening. So we'll try to get that information to you, but I agree that it could be better communicated. But it's also, like, this is from 2014 to 2023. It's an aggregate type of data. I think what people are trying to see is also there is the DOB quarterly report that I really like. There is no new construction permits. I can also paste that in the website, in the chat for people to take a look. I really like that one. I typically use that for when I'm meeting with new applicants for projects in the district. So I'll paste that one. This is more about what the housing conference put together for CHO.
Okay. We're ranked 34 in new construction, all right.
We're gonna look at page 12, it's very interesting.
Well, yeah. Rental vacancy rate, 1.41%, one of the lowest rates since 65. Less than 100 per month was 0.39. Median rent, 1641. 9% increase from 2021 and a 37% increase from 2014.
It's so depressing.
Okay, I thought it said something in here about homeless housing, no? No, just housing in general. Okay. Okay, thank you, Jose. Said. Or. Yeah. Permit types might tell us something, I don't know.
So what are our next steps in terms of updating the documents for the committee?
Okay, so we need to take it about look at the needs statements, and if there's any edits, I think there's a little bit of data in there, and if there's any additions that we want to make, we already talked about a few things tonight. We can look at our notes and see what we need to add. We need to do that for the 16th, or at least propose it on the 16th.
Yeah.
So that we can add it in, and then I believe this all has to go back to the city by end of this month, that's my guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you here on the 16th?
I have to see what's going on.
I am, but I'm flying the next day.
Gotcha. Let's see what's going on. That's next week on Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday, I should be around. Any other calendar? All public is invited to the public hearing on budget for this district on October 16th. Everyone is welcome. I believe it's at 6:30. What's the location?
It's here, I believe.
Is it here or is it Columbia or?
I don't have it up now.
Wednesday, 16th, 6:30 here. Yes, correct, here. In this room, which is 3295 Broadway at 133rd and Broadway. If anybody wants to join. Clayton, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, sorry, I just had a quick question. Would it be possible to put a draft of this in like a Google Doc that we could all comment on and edit?
Yeah.
Sure, of course.
Great.
Tanya's big thumbs up for
We
Tanya.
have an existing Google Doc though that Barry had did, it's still.
Google Doc.
Yeah, I have a Google Doc as well that's attached to our email for the committee.
Oh.
So it's probably the best place to put it, and I will put all these documents on there, and then we can do a live version that we can, Clayton can work on the data, and we can look at what we need to update wordage and all that.
So you'll send it.
I can send it to everyone. I'll send it with a link. Yep.
Then
I'll send a folder with, all these documents and then a working document we can work on together. Anything else we want to make sure gets into the needs statement? I think, it looks really pretty compared to previous years. I have to say, the work we did last year
yeah,
was really good. I don't know who cleaned it up, but it wasn't me. But it looks good. Clayton, good job. I'm thinking it was Barry and the office that did a great job on that, so we've got a good place to start from. So the other thing that'll happen on the 16th, just so you all know, is we'll also probably be taking a look at the line by line and ranking. I just want to show you guys that real quick as well, so that you know what to expect and to take a look at it, and we'll put this in the Google Docs as well. But these are last year's priorities. So the needs statement is one thing, and the priorities here is the other thing. But make it bigger for us here in the room. And so you see priority 1, 2, 3, 4, all of this. That is, why aren't you moving? Which one do I have it sharing on?
I see this one.
Yeah, but I want it to move. There it goes. There it goes. So you can see the priority of things and which agency is responsible.
I want to look for the transfer station.
Oh, yeah. So housing, HPD is us, anything under agencies concerning zoning, housing, all of that is us, HPD is us. Transfer station looks to be under Economic Development Corp. Tanya, yes, I'll put that in there.
Are they saying that we just asked the wrong agency?
OMB supports agencies as follows: securing funding for this request outside of EDC's jurisdiction within the EDC budget process. We should reach out to EDC.
Were they trying to say that the city doesn't own the marine transfer station? Why would that be outside of their jurisdiction?
Well, is it a parks thing now? No, is it sanitation or parks instead? Cause it's
Right, like,
owned by them.
right, did we just ask the wrong agency, but it's owned by the city?
It's possible.
Alright, I'm looking it up.
I believe it was transferred from, they were trying to transfer it from sanitation to parks. I don't think that happened though, right? At any rate, we'll put this up on the shared Google and do take a look at it before the 16th because we're gonna go through the priorities on that day. And if we want to move some priorities around, that's the question. So you're looking at things that have to do with like HPD. Department of Homeless Services usually often has developments in there. It goes all the way through to, I think, some of them go down to 50 requests. So any notes that you want to bring up on the 16th, that's what you want to be looking for. HPD. Housing Authority, that would be NYCHA. So capital requests for NYCHA, those are things that go on here. And so this is all capital in the beginning. And then I believe the expense is on here as well. Yeah, so expense starts on page 19. And then you go to expense things. So capital is in the beginning, expenses at the end. Any questions about this, guys? The process and what's expected of us? We need to re-rank these. We need to update our needs statement. All right, so everybody can take a look at it on the Google Drive. Bring your thoughts to the 16th or send them to me and I can bring those up on the 16th because I think I can probably be there, so. And Liz, you're off the hook. You can rest before your trip.
Well, I might be able to be there. I mean, as long as I'm packed.
As long as you're packed, got it. So Liz and I both have trips, a lot of trips planned coming up, so we're asking for your support to help us. You all are the best. We know that you do it. 16th of October is a Monday. No, it's not a Monday. October 16th is a Wednesday. Excusez-moi. Oh, that's the same night we're supposed to find someone to go to these NYCHA meetings, Liz.
All right.
Who are we gonna have do that? Annette?
You know, it's,
Annette, we're requiring you to go.
you can always be quiet.
Oh, Lord almighty. All right,
Good luck with that.
okay. I am closing the shop on the budget discussion unless there's other topics to bring up on that. Questions, thoughts, concerns? I see we have a new member on the lines. Hello, Steve Wygoda. Welcome to the Housing, Land Use and Zoning Committee.
Hello, guys. Nice to see you all.
So are you just visiting us? Are you one of our local folks?
I'm an architect who's interested in what's going on in New York.
Okay.
I've
Very
actually
good.
filed 137 sidewalk cafes, and I've done more than 2,000 in New York. So I'm interested in what's going on, basically.
Oh, sidewalk cafes. You're someone that's worked on that. Okay.
I just published a book on it also.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Put the information in the chat.
Oh, okay. I'll send a book to the district manager.
Yeah, do that. Send it to Yutha. I'm sure that would be interesting.
Very nice.
Well,
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna put in the chat the information for the hearing. And while I do that, what's next on the agenda here?
Old business?
Yes. Legislation we're watching. Anybody have any new legislation they would like to bring up that they have learned about in recent weeks? I'm gonna put information on the hearing here. No new legislation that anybody has? Okay, there's the public hearing information for the budget in the chat. Yes, in the chat now. All right, nothing new to mention on that? Very good. We had quite a robust developments we are watching last month, talking about the many supportive housing projects going on and details on that. We encourage you to watch our last meeting online. All of our previous meetings are on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel on that. Get with the times, baby. For the board. Yeah, we have a board YouTube page. Y'all, we're famous on YouTube. Go watch us. Tanya, do you have a question? I see your hand like this.
I don't have a question, but I was going to answer the legislation question. I didn't know if we
new
go back.
legislation to look at.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the industrial plan that the Adams administration and DCP and a bunch of departments just released on September 16th. So that's a big one.
Got it.
And that's, you know, that's about the development of industrial businesses and jobs. And that's going to be coming out over the next few years.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone on city planning who's on the call wants to say anything about it, but.
Audrey and Jose, any comments on that?
Sure. So as the individual is just speaking was saying, our department has released an industrial plan looking at how industrial districts and higher commercial districts can be you know, used and optimized, you know, looking to you know, the changing economic landscape of our city. I am trying to find a link to more information that I can drop in the chat, but Jose, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Sorry, I heard that question, but I was running to my dishwasher. Yes, so the plan was actually published, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We can share the plan on this, but it's essentially looking at those remaining C8 districts, some manufacturing districts. I know if you guys recall also those M1-3 districts that we approved in CEO and Economic Opportunity when we were talking about the future of manufacturing, those loft-like, you know, manufacturing housing districts, taking a look at those in the report and see what potential, you know, future for industrial with housing, with economic, you know, other type of uses would look like. There are no rezonings being proposed. There are no changes, you know, in land use. I think it's in a study to see what else could be, you know, done. Manhattan kind of being, you know, the outlier in this. We don't have that many CA districts and M1 districts in here. So, you know, there's some size, especially in our area. CB9, I believe we have a few, but mostly in 12 and 8 and 10. But it's not near in comparison what we, you know, other boards are dealing with in Brooklyn or so. But there's a lot more work to be done, and you know, it's potentially also going to be some type of crossover with the last mile facility special permit. But those are also under development. So you know, we can share the link. I you know have it in my link in my LinkedIn site. I haven't had a chance to take a look at it yet. You know, Audrey, we had like one of those workshops when we look at the rail yards, I believe it was on the side. You know, yeah, there it is. So yeah, we'll answer more.
I also encourage folks to take the survey that's linked on this page, take the citywide industrial plan survey. And I believe that is being monitored by us and by EDC. by DCP and EDC. So definitely share your thoughts as we work towards creating that final plan at the end of next year.
And that's something that's gonna go through the normal channels?
There's of review through community boards and city council and things like that.
Yeah, so yeah, just a quick clarification on this. This is not in a proposal yet. You know, if you think about it, when where we live happened, and we used to come to you when we present the CSO, we said this is everything that has come from where we live that was developed in 2014, 2016 to do CSO. So like where we live happened in 2014. So kind of to give you an idea, and was published in 2018, I believe. And that was a CSO, Housing Opportunity, was a continuation of that report. So yes, it could potentially, you know, develop into a proposal in the future, but this is a study. So this is part of like where, you know, you guys ask us, where was all this public information or public engagement when we wanted to give our input? This is essentially, you know, the time to do that. And, you know, we'll like to do a similar potential outreach have we done with CSO, that it doesn't feel so pressed for like when it's up to a vote and you only got like 60 days or 90 days to provide comments. But I think this is, as Audrey has pointed out, you know, key in here, taking this survey, sending information, because this will make it to the final report, right? And which will inform a potential future plan.
Got it. Okay. Well, the link is in the chat if anybody wants to check it out and take the survey. Thank you. I see Liz madly looking up some developments over here, if there's any news that you found, but again, yes, we have a YouTube page. Yes, you can look at our last meeting to get some good recaps on developments we have been watching. Of course, we also always depend on you, the eyes in our district, to tell us if you've seen any new developments starting that maybe we're not aware of or curious about. If you see any buildings that look abandoned, if you see things that seem like they're not being readily used well, and we need to figure out what's going on. Maybe we already know what's going on. We always get these kind of tips from our eyes on the ground, which is everyone here. So keep your eyes on the ground, please.
If I could ask Jose and Audrey, I've been trying to look up the block and lot for our marine transfer station. It doesn't seem to have one. It doesn't, I can't click on anything. I'm like going through all of these different websites.
Yeah. Sorry, do you have the address handy?
No, I can't find an address. I like Googled it. It's the Marine Transfer Station. It's next to Riverbank.
Yep. Yeah, yes. there's let me, because I remember looking at this for the 135th Street rezoning proposal. So let me get that information for you.
Where is that located? Sorry, in which street?
I mean, it's probably considered 135th Street. Behind, it's it's like directly behind 701 on the river.
Typically, you know, the waterfront or parts of the waterfront, what is in the coast are not considered land. So those are not subject to zoning. So that's why it might not be in the in SOLA, or, you know, they might not have a block and lot. So that's like the piers, and are typically governed by the Department of Parks, or, which sounds weird, but the Small Business Services. It owns all of the lot that is in the around the coast and in New York, which allows EDC to actually get revenue from that from that land. So, but it's a weird scenario. But, you know, they're not subject to zoning. So, you know, I know this because we have work in Pier 79 thing and the location of that, and there is no natural address, but there's a structure, you can see it, but it's not you know, a zoning.
Right. So, yeah, I'm still trying to get to the bottom of why in our budget request from last year about the Marine Transfer Station, that EDC says that they don't have jurisdiction over that thing floating in the river, the marine transfer station. So if they don't have jurisdiction, who does? So that's why I was looking to see, yeah, who does?
All right. Yeah. So like I said, I think it might be SBS. But or DCNY.
It's DEP.
DEP.
DEP. Well, at one time sanitation owned that lot. At one time they were trying to get parks to take it. So who is it
Yeah.
now? DEP?
It typically happens that way. Yeah. You know, it's just goes on. Oh, there it is.
Well,
At least let me confirm this because you know, I want to make sure I'm getting you the right information, but I think looking at their permit, the address is 725 West 135th Street.
725.
Okay. No, Tiffany. Tell Athena hi for us.
Thank you, Audrey, that's helpful.
All right. Okay, moving along. We have public member updates. Jared and Tanya, anything that you want to chat about? Any workshops we need to look at? Anything that you think could be a good project?
I think I brought up community land trusts a while ago, and I don't know, you know, if there was interest for that, but that was something we talked about a while ago. You know, there's a lot going on with them right now, and I thought that could be an interesting one to do a workshop. I brought that up after
After
presented
we
on that.
thing.
So that's one that I would propose possibly doing.
All right, because we do have, you know, a bucket of money set aside for doing outreach to the community, which could include a workshop and this kind of stuff. So anybody on this call or in this room have ideas for ways we can use our outreach money for workshops or for outreach to the community on what the committee does, what the community board does, this kind of stuff. I'm always up for, you know, using some of that money to make little postcards and send them out and things like that. I think that's always a good way to do it. We could combine that with a workshop where we send out a postcard. I've always wanted to do one side, you know, hey, we're having an event, other side, hey, did you know you have a community board and this is what it does. One day when we have a workshop to tout, let's do it. But Liz and I look at each other going, do you have time to organize a workshop? No, do you? No. So, oh, I miss the days when I had more time on my hands, but yeah. All right,
I have some examples of work that my students and I did with Community Board 4 in Bushwick that actually could be really useful, Signy, for this. It's all about what's the role of a community board. It's an explainer on land use and zoning. It's an explainer on affordable housing. And they're really beautiful, like one-page graphics. And they could be easily transferred for Community Board 9. And they're beautiful. They're using them now in Community Board 4. Out there. This is a project we did with them, but I'd be very happy to share them with you guys and we could use them for our community board.
yeah, it could be a nice addition to what we started with our FAQ page, right? Where we explained what all the terms and all the acronyms that we use are. Again, we apologize for all the acronyms. If you don't know what something is, let us know.
These are really beautifully designed visual graphics. So they use a lot of iconography, which is great because it helps it explain it. And it goes through like everything you need to know is like a quick explainer on land use and zoning, everything about housing, and then the role of the community board, everything a community board does. So it's a great outreach tool too, to also just get people to understand if they were to be a part of the board, what that would entail. So
and we could definitely, I think that's a great idea. I'm also thinking like, we need to engage people who also don't speak English as their.
We have it in English and Spanish. It's in both. We translate it. Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Can we also add like a list of community, resources for housing issues, like, because I always hear like people have questions like have problematic landlords, you know, rent control, you know, issues like, you know, or they're being overcharged and they don't know what to do and they don't know where to go. I mean, and on like, since we have these great organizations in the community, and I think we also have a lawyer, right, that comes to the office here.
Right.
So can we just add that? Because some people don't, a lot of people don't even know about like.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I went through the rent overcharge thing by myself. Nobody helped me because I didn't know that there was
Right,
help.
right.
Yeah,
So we could add like a list of the.
yeah, I think that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, yeah, let's take a look at what is on our FAQ. I think for it, trying to remember what we had on there. But yeah, okay. So any, let's see, MHCC, they came and asked us, you know, we made sure we put through that we're okay with the new rezoning proposal. So I don't think there's any other MHCC updates. NYCHA, we are looking for a representative that might be willing from the community board to go to some RAD PACT meetings to update us on what's going on with that. So if anybody's interested to go to those meetings, they're on Wednesdays, I think the third Wednesday of every month.
Are they on Zoom as well?
Don't think so. I have a feeling they're only in person.
That would be convenient for them too.
I think it's, you know, some of the residents who get together and yeah, I don't think it's virtual. RKO Hamilton Theater, nothing to report that I know of there. Till HDFC updates. Yes.
So yesterday we had the Arts and Culture Committee meeting and the Hamilton Theater came up and they're like, again, like everyone's in the darkness of what's going on and I know we don't have
anyone to lead the.
Yeah, so like, do we have any way of finding out or like, I know we were looking to have like another point person, maybe contact, but we're, you know.
We're just looking for someone that would be interested to take over the task force. The last person that was doing it was reaching out to Ashkenazi and, you know, we were trying to work with Ashkenazi and all of that. There's absolutely no new news since then.
But they still own it, right?
Oh yeah, they're just sitting on it right now. I mean, they would be, I think they'd be happy to work with the community if it made sense for them.
Yeah.
What we need is a big chunk of federal money to help us make all our dreams come true. That's what we really need, right, Liz? So we did a visioning. We want to see affordable housing. We want to see the theater preserved if we can. Who's calling? So the visioning meeting was clear.
Yeah. I think we should just like have more like the Arts and Culture Committee and our committee. Like, because there's always kind of like, we have the same issues, but we're not, and I'm on both committees, so I kind of try to bridge the gap, but like, maybe offline, we should talk to like Diane. I forgot, you know, the other co-chair, which.
There's Daria and.
My brain, I'm tired.
Tina?
So- Yes, Tina Lumley, I'm sorry. So we can talk to them offline and try to figure this out, so we don't have to keep like.
Yeah.
We just take people out, we keep saying.
I know, we keep saying to people to do it. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any action items for tonight. Hopefully next month we have something else to report. Final word on any other topics that, yes, we did say Hamilton Theater. That is something that's been talked about for many, many, many years. Joshua, Christopher. Did you have a question about it? Yep, raise hand.
Sorry, it's just, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, it's just something that's on my radar, and so if anybody could give like a 20-word synopsis of what you have been talking about. I'm new to the community board.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, 20-word synopsis. This is
Or
a.
choose
probably
your
a-
length. I don't wish to keep anybody too long.
A 10-year saga, I want to say. So that is a plot of land. The Hamilton Theater where currently it has what, Snipes or something, and the AT&T store, Spectrum store? I don't know, it's Spectrum. So it's currently owned by a developer named Ashkenazi. They own a lot of property all over the city. This was bought many years ago as a kind of group deal with some other properties. It's not high on their radar, so they own it. They're not doing a lot with it at the moment. They are more or less a developer for more commercial interests. So not like theaters and things like that. They bought it along with a piece of land that's on 147. So there's another plot of land. We would love to see the theater as a community turned into maybe an arts center, affordable housing on top. We've had a couple of organizations interested to do something with it. At one time, Classical Theater Harlem, at one time, the Jazz Museum. We had someone that was leading up a task force on this that we created, but that person's retired from the community board.
Yeah, but it wasn't, I mean, it was really, we did a lot of
visioning work.
We really got it to like a point where we thought we had put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And then, the father, the owner of Ashkenazi, passed away.
Yeah.
And, his children that were also, I believe, running the business with, the father, just had to take a step back from,
right.
Doing all that, and it sort of fell apart.
We had a visioning meeting maybe 7 years ago with the community about what we wanted to see there, and then we went to Ashkenazi and proposed it, and they said, sounds great, you got the money?
Yeah, well, we almost did, and it unfortunately fell apart, and Dan stepped away. So where it stands right now is it needs a community board person to step up and take over again, and try to go back and put those pieces back together.
And it could be a community board person along with a community member that's not a community board person. A task force can, as long as there's a community board member officially helping to lead the meetings, it can also be a community-led effort on that task force. It doesn't have to be community board members on the task force. It can be others as well that have a vested interest in it. It needs a Friends of the Hamilton Theater to advocate. Like, how did they create the High Line? That was Friends of the High Line wanted to do it.
Signe,
Yes.
if there are other people like my husband who's on the task force and has a vested interest in this, how can he get involved? He's not on the community board.
Yeah, so as long as we need a community board member to step up first off, and then he can partner with them to make sure that the notices go out and, all the meetings happen and they get led and all of that. So that's what we need. We need to take April.
What is Joshua's interest in it?
And Joshua, do you have an interest in it?
Well, I certainly do, and I appreciate taking a moment to share that there are other like-minded individuals and groups of individuals out there.
Yep.
Let me think about it a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I think we have a lot of people interested in it. We're just trying to find someone that
It really needs like one champion or two champions to like really, keep it, bring everyone back together again and try to put it back, all the pieces together.
Yeah.
It also doesn't help right now, the interest rates, so that's a piece of it. Nobody's building.
Yeah.
Except for
Hey.
JP Morgan Chase.
It's Steve again. Sorry, you guys.
Hi, Steve.
So I worked with Mikey Ashkenazi. I never met Ben, his older brother, and I worked with Izzy, their father who passed away.
Yeah. We met with them,
And they're always, their whole business thing has been up and down. Somebody should reach out to them. I'm not in your board, and and somebody should reach out to them because timing is everything. And Ben is really the guy you should reach out to. I know the
Yeah.
whole group.
Last time we spoke to them was maybe a year and a half ago, maybe. And it was right after Izzy died, I think. So that was a tough time.
Yeah, he died
Yeah.
unexpectedly and suddenly.
I know, yeah, and I remember when we met with them and they were like, listen, we're just kind of reeling and trying to figure out where we're going from here. And they were certainly interested to work with us and help us, you know, make it a vision for the community as well. I mean, it's a small piece of their, you know, their
Oh, yeah.
portfolio. So it's not, you know, if we came to them with a great idea, I think, you know, they'd love to work with us, but
100%.
but you
And
know,
also,
we're all a group of volunteers, which makes it difficult to find the time. We need a couple of champions, right?
I got you. Yeah, I volunteered for CB1 in Manhattan for about a year and a half. Also, just want to mention that the development we have on 135th Street, the Manhattanville rezoning, was approved by the subcommittee at City Council today. So we're going to move ahead with that project, and we offered your community board some space on the ground floor if you ever needed it.
Are you talking about the Amtrak project?
Yeah.
Are you aware of our resolution on that?
I was there and I heard the opposition and and I also heard the support from a couple of your members, and you spoke, and we have the borough president approved it, Abreu approved it, city planning approved it, subcommittee approved it. It's gonna offer about 15 to 18 affordable units. So it's been
we're familiar.
What's your relationship to that project?
I'm the architect.
Got it.
Let me say it this way, I'm the proud architect.
You're the proud architect. Understood.
So I just wanted to mention that. But as far as the Ashkenazis go,
over Amtrak.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What's that?
At some
There's
point.
a side conversation going on. Sorry. Yes, as far as the Ashkenazis go, it's time to reach out again, but
Yeah, I would say so.
Champions, yeah.
And I could pitch in if you need me, because I know Mikey, I don't know Ben, and of course Izzy's gone. So, but there's also a sister involved, and then there's a couple of family members who are in the group. And timing is everything. Just reach out and see. Worst that can happen is they say no again.
Got it.
Well, you know, one thing, if I may, Signy, one thing that we could ask them to do, we could let them know that the building is landmark, which they should be aware of, and that the building is in the State Historic District. So maybe we can start off small by asking them to take advantage of the tax credits for any other work that they might be thinking of doing in that building and restoring the facade. It is falling apart, and the scaffolding has been there for some time. They can at least do that for the community.
And you have Jared Knowles on the call now who will gladly support it, right, Jared?
Oh, well, you know, everyone at community board would support that. And
It's
so
good
with
for them.
LPC would be glad to hear that. So, you know, I would suggest that if you can reconnect well, I don't want to get into a quid pro quo thing, you know, here, because the community is against your project, but but it would be good to reconnect with him on that level, which
I agree.
Is not a big ask. And as an owner of a landmark building, you know, it is his responsibility and an obligation to do that.
You might find that he may want to sell it to somebody.
He might.
He would need to pursue it.
Yeah. Do you
We're
have
hoping to a
contact
nonprofit.
information for him that you could share?
Yeah. I mean, you know, he's online. I mean, Ben Ashkenazi owns quite a lot, as you said. And
Yeah.
but I could
Yeah.
send a number for Mikey, his younger brother.
Yeah, that's something that we could advocate for. My
Sure.
name is Yuen Chen, and I'm with the West Harlem Community Preservation Organization, and
Oh,
we've
yeah.
been doing
Okay.
the landmarking
You
in the area.
and Steve, maybe you guys can connect offline here.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
absolutely. And
I'll
Jared,
put my,
Jared,
I'll
I
put
assume
my,
you would support any, right?
yeah,
Preservation.
I'll put, well, he
Chat.
should, because they have done preservation across the United States, you know, in California, in Boston.
Yep.
So, you know, he should. I'm gonna put my contact information
Yep,
in
please
the
do.
chat.
Thank you.
Got it. Okay, so we've got to move on. I have a question in the room.
Sorry, we just gotta head out, but could I have your guys' contact information? Because this is for the project. And
Got
you guys
it.
have some really great ideas that I need to write about for my
Sure.
college
Are
project.
we,
I don't mean to rush you
are we ending the
Yeah,
meeting?
yes, so let's talk about it after the meeting, just 1 second. So that, with that said, I'd like to call for an adjournment of this meeting of Housing, Land Use and Zoning.
So moved.
I'm typing my thing in the chat.
Yeah, no,
I can't
yet.
see, so don't just, so he could, yeah.
I'll call the board and get it. Don't worry.
Great.
Oh, okay.
Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
We'll wait, we won't turn it off, you went until.
Okay, I'm almost done. West Harlem, CBO.org.
Clayton, thank you for calling in and for taking the minutes. Audrey and Jose, thank you for being here again.
Yes.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you, guys.
All right, have a good night.
Night.
West Harlem. Okay, there we go. West Harlem CBO. Okay. I can't send it though, it's not going, so.
Also, yeah.
It's not going.
Okay.
All right.
The vote down is gonna be 22.
Oh, Dan Sweeney?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I think he was gonna send something to the board office, so let's check with him.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
He was gonna send something about his book, I think.
I think he was pushing a boat.
Well, yeah, and I think he's interested in.
Oh, God. All right. Goodbye.
I don't really,
Hold on, let me stop the recording real quick and.
We're not.
I can't. Okay.